Oops. Butterfingers. Sunday night. Can you believe it's almost the end of the month already? Sunday night. How the hell is everybody? August 29th. Time is flying, my friends. Hope everybody's doing well on this Sunday evening. Right off the bat, prayers for our Gulf Coast, Louisiana, Mississippi. Right now, as I speak, they're going through hell. Hey, Pete. Hey, Mike. Michael. Anyway, Hurricane Ida. I hate when, look, I'd rather have a hurricane. I mean, living in California, you get a lot of people that beg to differ, but they'll go, I'll take an earthquake any day before a hurricane. It's like, I'm sorry. A hurricane, at least you know it's coming. You can prepare. I was in the Northridge earthquake, however many decades ago it was. It was not fun. So these poor people now, the only thing I hate about hurricanes is when it's nighttime, it's nasty and you don't know what's going on. But I literally saw a video earlier today of roofs of a metal building just ripped right off whole and just flying down the street, chopping telephone poles in half. It's kind of crappy. Prayers for the Gulf Coast, Louisiana, Mississippi. It's going to be a rough couple of days, and then followed by probably a rough couple of weeks, flooding. They get a lot of water. Louisiana, New Orleans, oh my God. I had a buddy of mine, he just bought a house in New Orleans, and I just looked at him and said, why? Why? Because he was here in California. I was like, why? He goes, no, it's great. I go, I've been there a lot. Why? God bless him anyway. Here comes that sound. Means I can start more. Don't forget, I want you guys to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just come on over. I know you're on Facebook and all that, but come on over, please. Things are changing. I just want everybody to be prepared. It's all about being prepared. We could talk a lot about people and countries and governments not being prepared if you want. But you see what happens when you're not prepared. Anyway. Come on over. Subscribe to YouTube. It's free. It's a little more sane. You can go through stuff in a lot more order. You can find things of the shows. There's hundreds of them now, thanks to you guys. Also, real quick, don't forget, I'd like you to be a guest on my show if you have something to bring to the table. Some of you may think, my story is not that big a deal, even though it's driving you crazy and you're going through hell. But believe me when I tell you that most people probably share the same story and need the help. They need to know that somebody else is going through what they're going through and how to deal with it, because some people have nobody to talk to. That's why we have this show. We speak for the people who won't speak. That's right. If you want to be a guest on the show, just write us. info@petergshow.com. We'll take a look at it, and if it's worthy, we'll give you a call and say, hey, you know what? Not bad. A lot of things get brought to my attention that I just don't even think that's relevant, and it actually is. So, sometimes I just don't think of things, and I go, you know what? That's a good idea. A lot of times I don't think of things. I'm busy. I think of a lot of things, but not everything. Anyway. Bring it to the table. Be a guest on this show. If you have something to talk about you think that's going to be of worth to others. Anyway. Oh, yeah, don't forget Alabama, too. They're going to get a good tail piece of it, too. All of it, Texas, the whole area. It's going to go up into the inland. Tomorrow's going to be a funky day. I'll be glad when it's daylight for those people. Hurricane Ida. It's a mess. Anyway, Listen, for those of you also, in case anybody's interested, I'll be not appearing, but I'll be on the Kathy Nutt radio show this Tuesday afternoon, September 1st, 1st of September. She asked me to be on her show, and I'm going to be on her radio show. She does a 1-hour show every Wednesday on the Artist First Radio Network. And she talks about all kinds of stuff, but I think right now she's pretty riled up about what's going on internationally and with our country. At least that's what she kind of brought up to me. But, you know, she knows with me, she can ask me just about anything. So anyway, I don't know. You know, things may change by the time I actually get on her show on Wednesday, September 1st. It's 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. Do the math with the other times. But Wednesday, September 1st on the Artist First Network. You go on there, Google it, and you find the Kathy Nutt radio show, and you just click on it. You can listen to it live, and I think it goes into archives shortly after, and you can listen to it whenever, but I'm going to be on her show. So in case you got nothing to do on a Wednesday afternoon, and you want to hear me bitch about stuff, I'll be there. Last week we had the infamous international radio show host from the Red Pill Hardcore Show, V. He came on and we talked about the new social platform that had just got launched this past few months, the TLB Talk Radio Network. Yeah, thumbs up. All right. I'm already seeing a bunch of people popping on and friending me on it. Way to go. Freedom of speech. TLB Talk. It was a good show. Again, V's deep. He talks about things that are way over my pay grade a lot of times, but you know, you need to listen because there's a lot of stuff going on that you're not aware of, everyday stuff. And we just believe what we, hello. And we just, you know, kind of take in what we hear and figure it's real, but sometimes there's a lot of truth beyond what you're hearing, a lot of false facts. We'll talk about all that. We always do. Anyway, that was last week. Next week, listen up real close. Sunday, September 5th. That's Labor Day weekend, Sunday night. So a lot of you people will probably be up later than normal because you might not have to go to work for those of you who work. This coming Sunday, September 5th, Labor Day weekend. For all you vaxxers and anti-vaxxers, I got big stuff for practically the whole month of September, but this Labor Day Sunday night, September 5th, I got Dr. Brian Ardis. He's going to be on the show. He's got a lot of factual stuff. I don't care if you guys are pro-vaccination, anti-vaccination, whatever. But for the sake of not arguing, listen to the man. He's very, very well versed. A lot of facts, a lot of proof to back it up, paperwork, the things that nobody wants to read and they just listen on TV and go, oh, okay. A lot of stuff. Just listen and decide. I'm going to be bringing that for most of the month of September. I got doctors on the show. This coming Sunday night, Labor Day weekend, Sunday night, September 5th. You just watch and decide. I'm doing this for you guys. I'm not the one with all the answers. I'm just the messenger. But it might do you some good. It took me a lot to get these guys on the show, and they've agreed to come on the show, and I'm very grateful because they really have their act together. Anyway, that's next week. Love to see you all here because it's important. I care about you guys. I do. Tonight, I have the infamous Baltimore's own Mr. Bob Paff waiting in the wings. But first, a message from our sponsor and Bolt Energy. Hey everybody, Peter G from the Peter G Show and my friend Pepsi right here. Hey, we're here to tell you today about my beloved Bolt Energy.
Bolt Energy.
Bolt Energy. Electrify your senses. Did you know that, Pepsi?
I did not know that.
Yeah, electrify your senses. Bolt Energy has no preservatives.
No preservatives?
No, and it's enriched with antioxidants and vitamins.
Antioxidants.
It's a cleaner energy drink.
Cleaner.
That's right.
Nice.
And, you know, a couple little tidbits you might not know because
Yes.
I don't talk about it very often, but the Apollo mission, man on the moon.
Man on the moon. To the moon, Alice.
Bolt Energy.
Moon.
That's right.
Electrified.
That's right. If you would have looked in their storage bins, what do you think you would have found?
Bolt Energy.
Bolt Energy. Ask for it in stores, Bolt Energy, and tell them the Peter G Show sent you. How's that?
Hey, Peter G.
All right. Peace out. Love you guys.
Peace.
That's right. Bolt Energy. Can't find Bolt Energy. Go to Facebook, LLC Bolt Energy, Instagram, LLC Bolt Energy, YouTube. Just find them. It's easy. Google. Say, hey, we're going to find this Bolt Energy. No preservatives. These guys know what I do and still support me. Can't ask for much more than that. Okay. Without further ado, Bob, are you ready? Shake your head for me if you're ready. Hey, all right. I like it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say from parts unknown, but he's definitely from parts known. My friend and yours, every last Sunday of the month, East meets West, co-hosting with me to bring more to the table for you guys, my friend, Mr. Bob Paff. Hey.
Hey there, Peter.
How are you?
I'm good. I thought I'd wear orange tonight to sort of brighten up everything. Is it working?
Hey, aren't you glad you did?
Orange.
Yeah.
There's a bolt for you, right?
Yeah. Listen, I'm full of fifth grade jokes, man. You know, some things I can't remember, some things I can't lose. So it's all good. How are you?
I have nothing on below the shirt, but we don't need to talk about it.
Hey, you know, I'm not wearing any pants either. The beauty of this whole new system. Hey, how you doing?
I'm okay. You know, continue to be worried about this world. I mean, you talked about New Orleans and Alabama. I think you mentioned folks that are getting hit by, is it Ida, right? It's Ida.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Afghanistan and just, you know, the pandemic that continues. So it's a effed up place we're living in, to put it.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I wanted to tell you, it's like, you know, like when we get started, where do you want to start? It's like 5 weeks since I've seen you, and holy crap, the stuff that goes on since we left off last time.
Yeah, well, it's a daily basis, Peter. I mean, these days I go to bed really not knowing, and I'm sure many folks out there do, what's going to be tomorrow. I mean, it's unbelievable. It just really is. Like between the natural disasters and Afghanistan, and I've been reading that they're possibly expecting another attack, and you know, Biden's health, you have to, I mean, this will be a lot for anybody, but for somebody who's 80 years old to be dealing with something like this in the infancy, if I can use that word to describe him, of his presidency is not a good thing either. So just the mental acuity that's required, the stamina, the physical stamina to deal with something like this. So let me just say nothing would surprise me really at this point. It's very scary times that we're living in, to put it mildly.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mess. I mean, you know, and again, we can talk about that all night. And I got yelled at. I touched on it a couple of shows ago when everything first went to hell over there. And you know, I only kind of all I said was, you know, our current administration, this is what's going on. And somebody just got mad at me. And you know,
For what?
Yeah, because exactly for my opinion that I really didn't even give. I just touched on it, that it's a mess over there, and right away the blame is getting pushed onto our past president, which is fine, you know. But again, I didn't get into it to elaborate, and all I got called was, you know, my stupid ass, and no wonder why I'm divorced, and you know, and I really,
Ouch.
yeah, you know what?
That's not necessary.
I know it isn't, and the guy's probably a good guy, and we probably could be great friends, but he didn't give me a chance, you know. Maybe
you're more forgiving than I am. Sounds like a
yes, I am. But you know, you got to understand. I realize in this business, I mean, you know, there's going to be people that disagree. I can't make everybody's not going to like what I do. In fact, a lot of people don't. You know, but what do you know? You can't please everybody,
right?
So you know, we got a lot to talk about. But I mean, it's you know, where do you want to begin? Pick a subject. Or I will.
Yeah, why don't you do that, and I'll just comment from this part of the world.
Well, because you know, I do pay attention to you because you know, we do get together for this you know, once a month, and I throw things. I'm going to go straight to your heart. Yeah. Because this is something we talk about a lot. Yep. And I happened to text you earlier this month because it hit me close to home too.
Oh yeah.
And that's drug addiction.
Yeah.
Not even drug addiction, but fentanyl overdosing.
Yes.
I text
your friend.
I Ugh. I texted you earlier this month because I had a friend that I've played with for many, many years when I was younger, growing up, and great guy. I mean, comes from a good family. They're not, crap people. Married, had a 17-year-old son. And I came to find out from his brother, who I played with too. They were both musicians. And I got a phone call only to find out that their one and only, and it doesn't matter if you have 40 kids or one or whatever, but their 17-year-old son accidentally OD'd from fentanyl. And it stopped me dead in my tracks again, because when I say I can't imagine, I say that with you all the time, but whether you're 10 years old or 20 years old or 60 years old, losing that child, and again, to this fentanyl that's coming over the borders like water.
Right.
And what do you say to these people? It took me 3 days to call him, to talk to him, because I just dreaded the phone call.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what? Let me stop you there. Thank you for making that phone call to him, because I will tell you, as a father who's lost a child, as you know, in 2019 from fentanyl, a lot of people don't make those phone calls, Peter, I will tell you. And a lot of people are there maybe at the beginning, maybe they're there at the funeral, or pay their respects initially, and then a lot of those folks go away. So I would congratulate you on making that phone call, because it's not an easy call to make. I'm going to a service on Wednesday of this week for an old family friend who was probably close to 70, who died extremely unexpectedly. And it's hit me hard, because this is a family that's been close to my family for a long time. And I posted something about it. It speaks to our own mortality, and it conjures up memories and all those things like that. But a 17-year-old, my God, I mean, it's Zach was 33, and there's never an age appropriate, if you're an adult, a parent, to bury a child. But I would encourage you to continue to stay in touch with this family and reach out to them. I'm actually speaking this week in Baltimore on Tuesday for it's an addiction and recovery center, and they want me to speak about my loss. And I'm going to speak about the loss, but I also want to speak about what can be done. I mean, I'm sitting here right now and I'm looking at the killing fields, how opium triumphed as the only winner of America's war in Afghanistan. I think I posted that, you saw it. People don't realize that Afghanistan is the largest producer of heroin in the world. Afghanistan is supplying the world with its heroin. And Bush tried to stop it, Obama tried to stop it, Trump tried to stop it, and it just continued. I mean, we were actually paying in this country, segue into your story about your friend's son, we were actually paying farmers in Afghanistan not to grow poppy, not to grow these opioids over there. And they were taking our money, we were giving them the money, billions of dollars were spent, and they were doing what they wanted. And so the production multiplied, and increased. And so I just think, and I've said this before, we could do more. Listen, one of the things, I don't want to really get into the whole thing. People have really strong feelings about people blame the the way I look at it now, whoever's the commander in chief, whoever it is, doesn't matter what the party is, has to deal with this. I mean, Harry Truman said the buck stops here. And so people can blame all they want, but I think everybody kind of universally agrees, Democrats and Republicans, that the way the whole thing has been handled has been a travesty. But we can do more. We can, and everybody's saying now, us going in there, that we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't understand the culture. We didn't realize that training the Afghanistans to fight like this was just not in there, whether it's a religious thing or a cultural thing. We just didn't know what we were doing being in there. And now $3 trillion or $2 trillion later, we're going to pull out of 20 years and thousands of deaths. One of the things that people don't talk about, Peter, and I think it's important to know, is I think there have been 30 veteran suicides. And I was very involved in suicide prevention. So you don't hear about that. You hear about the tragic deaths. I think all these 13 people, I think, were they all in their 20s? If anybody was even in their 30s, it was maybe 30 or 31. But One of the kids, I think, was 20 years old and was about to become a father for the first time in 3 weeks. Somebody else had just been sent over there 2 weeks ago, and they're gone. So,
Oh yeah, they're all babies. I mean, they
they're all
really.
babies. That's the
Yeah.
way to put it.
It,
Yeah,
it,
they're
it,
all.
it hurts. I watch this stuff, and it's just I'm getting soft in my old age. I guess my heart just doesn't take
Sure.
so well anymore. You
Yeah.
know, I just feel their pain, and it is just god awful. I mean, what? Anyway, it's a whole
Well,
again.
what about the woman who? There was a woman who. I don't know. I guess she was on. Maybe she was on Fox or something like that. One of the stations, but a lot of people picked it up. That was really very outspoken against Biden, very angry and vocal. As I can absolutely, I've lost a son. I can understand that. I can't imagine losing a child under these circumstances when we thought we were taking people out. You sent somebody over there 2 weeks ago, and they're gone. They were killed. So I don't know how you wrap your head around that. The bottom line for me, and you and I talk about this every once a month, is I was reading an article earlier that one of my Facebook friends, Jerry Edwards, posted, and it was written in 2013. It was written by a reporter who was retiring, and I think he was with the Orlando Sentinel, if I'm not mistaken. And he was talking about, I might get the numbers wrong, but he said something like, there are 545 congressmen, senators, representatives that we have, and there are over 350 million people in this country, and these people make the decisions for everybody. And basically, this reporter, this was sort of his swan song, and he was saying that everybody agrees that the deficit we carry is not a good thing. So why can't they come together and resolve it? So the position of the article, Peter, was that the politicians create these problems. They create all of this havoc, somebody was earlier, and I know I'm going to get, people are going to laugh. I don't normally weigh in on politics. I really don't. Or when I tell people, what I do is I frame it and I say, listen, I've got opinions and I'm entitled to my opinions just as you are. It shocks me that people will ride the party line so stringently that to the point of losing their objectivity. As though they know. And quite honestly, Peter, you and I, even in what we do, we don't really know. Does anybody really know? So we're bombarded with stuff from the mainstream media. We're bombarded by stuff on social media. So whether you read the USA Today, the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, or whatever it is, Politico, whatever it is that you follow.
Who do you believe?
Who do you believe? Who do you believe? It kind of goes back to the whole thing. We should do a show on this. You and I have both been affected by divorce, but the topic being parental alienation. And one of the fallacies that I always heard, everybody always told me, take the high road, take the high road, take the high road. Yeah. And kids figure it out. Well, guess what, folks? That was the biggest lie I was ever told. Kids don't figure it out. And one of the things that I was reading, that 68% of the alienators in situations of parental alienation are women, are the moms. And that might shock a lot of your listeners. That it's really the moms that do all this kind of stuff. My point is, for that situation, kids, everybody says they figure it out. They don't. What happens is, and what happens to us as people, we're bombarded with information. And based on that information we're bombarded with, Peter, we come down on one side or the other. Or we just say, if it's the Democrat, then that's the right answer. If it's a Republican, then that's the way to go. I've never done that. I will never do that. I understand. Let me say something to you, and some people might lash out at me, and that's fine. Go ahead and do whatever you want. Take your best shot. Take your best shot. I understand a lot of people not liking Donald Trump. I really do. I mean, I think the guy he is bombastic. He's rude. He's a bull in a china shop. He's not a very good speaker. There's nothing about him, in my opinion, as a father, as a speaker, as an author, there's nothing about him that I found warm and engaging. So I get that. I understand people who, now the whole, all the orange man stuff and the name calling and all that kind of stuff, which he did. He would call people names. Like the whole Sleepy Joe thing is unnecessary, just unnecessary. And so in fairness on the other side, and I've said it before, listen, a lot of people don't know this. Let me share something with your listeners. Joe Biden, when he was elected, was 7 months, I think, older than Ronald Reagan was at the end of his second term. And Reagan, when he was first elected at the age of 69, was the oldest president elected. At 69, Biden's going to be 79 in November. And so I've made comments to people that I just think he's too old. I always thought he's too old. And I didn't really get into his competency. I think Bob Gates, the former Secretary of Defense in the Obama administration, made a comment about Biden's history as a foreign affairs expert. And he said every decision he's made regarding foreign affairs has been wrong for 40 plus years. So my concern, it doesn't matter. See, part of the problem, Peter, is if I say something negative or critical or make some commentary about Biden, all of a sudden I'm supporting Trump. If I say something about Trump, it means that I'm not supporting. I don't look at things that way. And why do people rush to judgments? Let's simply look at the facts of what's going on. So I really think here's the bottom line, and we can move on. Politicians create more problems in this country than they solve, and then they resolve. And I'm fed up with it. I'm really fed up with it, because if we had stopped this flow of opioids into this country, maybe my son would be alive. Maybe he wouldn't. I don't know. We'll never know. Maybe that 17-year-old child of your friends would be alive. We don't know. But God damn it, don't we have a responsibility to do more than what we're doing, Peter? I mean, the year that Zach died, there were 70,000 deaths, and that was 2019. Just 1 year later in 2020, there were 93,000.
Yeah, and I've talked about that, but this is the thing. And a lot of people may say, well, God, 17 years old, it's like, where's the parents? This and that. And let me tell you something. They're good people. I mean, they're not piece of shit people. And it's ironic, because a month earlier, I had a talk with him because with his brother, who said, "Yeah, Larry's."
You had a talk with the 17-year-old, or
with my friend's brother.
Okay.
Who that was his nephew and so he says, you might want to give him a call. He says he's going through some problems. I go, like what? He goes, his son's kind of getting a little bit, he's 17, he knows everything, and he's into pot and this and that. And it's like, look, because now that's nothing. That's part of growing up. I mean, most all of us have been there. I'm telling you, I think, I know I've done plenty of stupid stuff, and God bless my parents. I got my old man didn't screw around. He kicked my ass. Yeah. But the thing was, I still stepped out of the lines. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you think you're bulletproof. You don't. Nobody ever. This was totally accidental. But the bottom line was he was 17. But he was starting to step out. You become your own man. And it's like, and screw you guys, even though they're your parents, you love them to death. You'll see it when you get older. But as a kid, you're like, they know nothing. You know everything. It's It's just life, and it hurt. And I mean, I had a harder conversation with my buddy's brother than I did when I finally got the 3 days and got the muster up to call him. The conversation went better than it did with his brother. It broke me, because I just wasn't expecting to get kicked in the head to find that out, on the initial phone call. But he's been going to grief counseling, and I called him right after they got out of one of those sessions, and we had a actual conversation without breaking me down or him down, and which was really, really good. But it's going to be a never-ending replay in your head for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't go away. I just ordered another book today about grief, and a lot of people just think that when this happens, and your friend is going to sadly find out, I mean, their whole narrative changes, the way people treat you changes, the way people approach you changes, everything changes. It just changes.
The Christmas that, what should have been, what could have been, what used to be, all that crap runs through your head. It runs through my head, and it didn't even happen to me, know?
Yeah. But one of the worst things, though, too, I mean, those are the natural things that nothing's the same. The holidays, birthdays, all those things like that. But it is then more painful the way the world treats you or reacts to you, because they don't know what to do and they don't know what to say, or maybe they say some things that are just like, wow. So it's a life sentence. Let me just put it that way. So I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
And I told you, if anybody ever wanted to speak to me, and I've spoken to when I was in Florida myself, when you were down there, I have a friend, I'm not going to mention any names, but a friend of his, the wife had taken her life. She had died by killed herself, and he asked me to speak to the guy, and I did. And he said to me, it was very interesting because I told my friend, I said, absolutely, just give him my number. And I thought, well, I'm here. And he said, well, it might not be for a few days, if at all, because I don't know this guy. We have a mutual friend. And lo and behold, my phone rang, and I took the call, and I was out, and I told him that I was going to be in the car. And he said, I want you to tell me something that's going to fix this, or that's going to make it go away. He really said that.
Right.
Make the pain stop hurting, or guilt, or whatever the situation was, because I think maybe the couple had been arguing or something like that, and he was feeling that. And I said, I can't. Everybody's got to go through it differently, and that situation was different. I lost a child. He lost his wife to suicide, and so it's a different grieving process and everything else. But it's a life sentence. It's a life sentence. So
It's that again. What do you say? What do you do? Everybody is different.
Everybody's different, whenever the way, I have a friend here in Baltimore, and I'm not going to tell you what they do or whatever, prominent folks in the community, but lost a child. It was a medical reason. The parents happened to be doctors, but one parent likes to talk about the child, and the other doesn't, and has a hard time doing that. And so everybody handles it, and then neither one of them is right or wrong,
Right.
but it makes it very difficult, because again, there is no right or wrong. I talk about my son a lot. I talk to my son a lot.
Right.
It helps me. It might not help.
Right.
I'm going to speak at this thing on Tuesday, and there's a woman there who just lost her son. I think her first name is Karen. She just lost her son in January of this year. So like January 23rd, I think it was. And she said, looking forward to meeting you. So again, everybody handles all these things differently, but
let's talk about, because I want to keep going, because again, we can make it again, following you through the month. I see that you attended Pastor Ray's Sunday Church Without Walls, one of those Sundays a few Sundays ago, right?
I did. Yeah.
Tell me, going in and coming out of it, what you did going in, how you felt coming out of it. I mean, explain Pastor Ray what he does real quick, and then, you showing up to just be there, how you felt going in, and then after being there, how you felt coming out.
Yeah, so Pastor Ray really quickly works with, that you guys are connected, and I've had him on my show, and a lot of people are listening here. If Gene Barnett's out there, or Carol Dye's listening, or anybody else who maybe met Pastor Ray, he works with the homeless population in Baltimore. And really what I would say, if Pastor Ray were listening, he tries to bring God, Christ, into their lives, to give them hope, is really what I would say. And so he started this organization that's called the Church Without Walls, and that means that there's no brick and mortar. So we sat on a grass plot behind a Wawa. I don't know what you have in California, convenience stores. We have Royal Farm stores, Wawas. It's a convenience store. So there's a grass plot behind the convenience store that they allow him to use, and he has, I don't want to say it's mass. It's a meeting, and he talks about scripture and the Bible and all of that. We don't give communion. There's no collection, so it's not traditional in that form. But I had been talking to him about coming out for a while, and it was one of those weekends where it worked for me, and I showed up. So to answer your question, how did I feel going in? I've never done anything, to be honest with you. I've never done anything like that, and probably.
Why I'm asking.
Yeah, probably if my son hadn't passed away as a result of a drug overdose, Peter, we wouldn't be talking about this now. I wouldn't have the same experience. That wouldn't be my world. It wouldn't be a world, quite honestly, I don't want to offend anybody, that anybody would choose, including the people who are addicted to these drugs. So I would end with.
Why you were there. That's why you were there. And
yeah, that's absolutely right.
Okay.
I'll use the word reticence. I went in with some reticence, not knowing how I was going to feel. And they were, I was a little, I don't want to say embarrassingly happy to see me, but maybe surprised in some ways that I was there. And I was just there as an observer. I did not speak. but I couldn't help looking around at, the front row of, it was obvious who the people were that were struggling, because they were right up in the front row and Pastor Ray was preaching to them. But here's what I've always taken away from situations like that and like this. I was watching somebody the other day. I've been on this walking craze. I'm committed to losing 50 pounds. So month by month, hopefully you'll see me fade away. But I was walking earlier, and there was a person that, I don't know if this person was homeless or just taking a break. They were carrying a backpack. They were sitting by one of the schools where I walk, and I couldn't tell if they were sleeping or what was going on. It was dark, and they were sitting there, and it was not a place where you would just like, what are they doing? They weren't waiting for the bus. They looked like maybe they were homeless. And I walked past, and they didn't startle when I walked by, didn't get up or anything. And I stopped and I turned around. You've seen my post, the deer flocking to me and running around. I really think I'm the deer whisperer now. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, dear.
But they just come around. Oh dear. Yeah. And so anyway, I stopped and I thought, wow, this person is somebody's son, somebody's brother, maybe somebody's father. And I had that same reaction. My dad was homeless. I think I've shared that with you before, but maybe a lot of the listeners don't know. And I've written a blog. If people go to my website, bobpaff.com, you'll see my blog on homelessness. And the article, I think it was like the homeless, they're just like you and I. And I remember being in New York and walking down Fifth Avenue or Madison Avenue or Park Avenue, one of the nice streets, and seeing some guy, and this was interesting, he was sitting. He wasn't standing, and he had a sign basically that said, I'll work for food or whatever. But I looked over, and just for that split second, we caught each other's eye, and it reminded me of my father. And so I pulled out my BlackBerry at the time. People were still, and I think people might still have BlackBerries. Remember the BlackBerries?
Oh,
I
yeah.
pulled out my BlackBerry, and I wrote a blog walking down Madison Avenue. And what I said basically was, these people have families. These people have maybe children. They're certainly somebody's son. So they have parents, and like, where are the parents? The parents wondering about them, like, what happened to Johnny or Susie? They just left 5 years ago and now they're gone. So I was struck by that. So that same feeling I have, and I'm going to use it in my remarks on Tuesday when I speak, is that everybody in the room that's suffering from addiction is somebody's son or daughter or brother or sister or mother or father. And so I guess the point of that, Peter, is we don't really put an identity on these people. We label them. I don't hear the word junkie as much as I used to. I mean, that one's gone, but a lot of people now will attack you these are people that are struggling, but so you don't hear all those labels that we used to hear before. But clearly these are, Pastor Ray uses this term, I think, Pastor Ray, if you're listening, if not, excuse me, broken. Everybody's broken. And these are people that are broken. But unless we change things, unless we change what we're doing around the world, unless we elect more servant leaders, you shouldn't go into politics to get rich or to get out and then go lobby and then get rich. But we do, and they do. And so unless we change that, Peter, I don't know what the hell's going to happen. And I think I'm a pretty positive guy, but I'm also realistic. And this is a very screwed up, I won't use the F word. I wanted to, but you can. It's a very screwed up world. It really is. And it bothers, I'm an empath anyway, but also a father of 5 living, 6 total children. And I wouldn't want to be starting all over. And I'm not that old, but it really just bothers me every day. Every day you're going to wake up and the headline's going to be, something. And my God. And if Biden doesn't survive the first term, then Kamala Harris, who was a one-term senator from California, and I know Obama was a one-term senator from Illinois, and we're not talking about him tonight, but my God, the thought of Kamala Harris running the country would be, I don't care, the women's livers or this or that or all this kind of stuff like that. It's not about that. Stop. People just need to stop that. Yeah. It's a woman, you go. It's a man, exactly. You go. It's
she can
whatever.
Suck. So long as she's a woman, whatever.
Yeah. Until we get to the point of stop drinking that Kool-Aid from a fire hydrant, from a fire hose, we can't. And I do think the media really pits everybody against everybody else. It's hard to have, if not impossible, to have a normal conversation with anybody regarding that. Plain and simple, I just think Joe Biden's too old to be the president. I think he's too old to be handling this mess. I don't think he's handling it. I think other people are doing this stuff, for him, and look where it's gotten us. And look at it. Look what it does around the world to us. So somebody, I don't know if it's true or not, could be the whole fake news thing, but somebody has been posting, and I've seen it. I just saw it on LinkedIn, which I tend to think is a little bit maybe more reputable. But somebody was talking about an article in a Prague, Czechoslovakian newspaper.
I have that article.
Do you have that, right? And they talk about Biden
it.
being a buffoon, but it's worse. It's really the electorate.
It's about us.
Right, it's about us.
Yes.
Because the Prince of Fools, or whatever they call them, kind of thing. Like, you could deal with that, and okay, great, but 80 million people really elect somebody like that. And again, folks, if you're listening to me, it doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump or if it's Biden or if it's Obama or if it's Bush or it's whatever. Let's just get real with what's going on here. It's very frightening. It's very frightening. I'm a lot younger than Joe Biden, and I wouldn't want to be dealing with this. And so,
I don't know.
Right?
We're sliding back into the whole political thing again, but I just,
it's hard not to.
It's hard not to, because it's very, very, we're engulfed in it more than ever.
It touches everything. Somebody was saying something earlier about Nancy Pelosi and the Nancy Pelosi thing. Nancy Pelosi's from Baltimore. Her father and her brother were both mayors of Baltimore. Her father was a congressman, I think, during the Kennedy administration. She's too old. She needs to retire and go away. If she's not 80, she's almost 80. And it's funny because, and I told this woman, whoever posted that said, what a great role model for our young women and whatever. And I said, I don't think she's a great role model for my two daughters. Anybody that would tear up the State of the Union address.
Yeah. And
how is that a good role model?
Yeah.
How's that a good role model? And she did it with, remember that she did it like, look at me, look what I'm doing here. I'm just ripping this up, this blow bag.
Right over his shoulder.
Right? Yeah, that's so not cool.
It is.
And so if you say that's not cool, does it mean that you're a Republican or an independent or anything other than a Democrat? That's bullshit. I mean, that kind of nonsense just needs to stop. I mean, that is anyway.
Yeah,
so
I know.
You get me on my soapbox, and we could talk about that, for a long time.
I got people.
But it is what
I got people on both sides chiming in. They're pro this side and pro that side, which really kind of sucks, because again, it's very black and white. How do you get somebody? They think we're crazy. You say they're crazy. I was never a Democrat or a Republican. I just want somebody to be decent. And so I switched sides because I had to pick the best of what I thought was the best of two. And that was it. It was like, because I just don't believe that whole system, I think, is screwed up in the first place.
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
Well, it's one between gerrymandering and everything else that's manipulated and all of it. I mean, Peter, it's so broken. It's so broken, and it's so big though that I don't know how we fix it. I really don't. I've always been a big fan of term limits. I mean, I think, why do you need to make a lifetime out of being in there and doing this stuff? Right. These people just live different lives than you and I, and they're absolutely, in fairness to them, and whether it's Mitch McConnell or Nancy Pelosi.
Flip flops like a pancake.
What's that?
He flip flops like a pancake. Sure. One minute you think he's one side, the next minute it's like. I mean, it'd be great if he made great decisions, but I'm really beginning to wonder a lot about him too.
Yeah,
I just don't get it. It's like,
I think with all of them, and so I'm glad we're, like I said, so I want people to know. I mean, I think it's going back to term limits and all that. So
it's in their best interest, not ours.
No, yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. So.
It is ridiculous. Anyway, okay. So, but listen, while you were doing the thing with Pastor Ray, I know I do follow Pastor Ray as well, and I noticed that within the course of the month, like I think I counted 3 people like passed away that followed him. You know?
Yeah, and it's been a tough year. They've lost a number of people. He will tell you that I'll use the word converted or a number of people save them, or whatever the expression is.
You got to give them an E for effort. At least they're showing up.
Yeah, you do. I'm looking forward to Tuesday's talk. I asked him if he's going to have the media there. We really need to do more, and we can do more. You know, my whole thing about all this, Peter, we've talked about it before, is mental health. It all comes down to mental health. I don't know the story of all these people. I don't know the story of the people that were there when I was there. But you can bet that there's some childhood trauma there somewhere. There is.
It happens. And addiction is addiction. I mean, some people were normal people that just, you can't stop. It just takes a hold of you, a grip that you just can't let go. I mean,
yeah.
You know,
heroin is very addictive. It's a short high, you know, so you need to keep doing it again. And then when people titrate up to a certain amount, and that's what a lot of people, one of the things that really does kill a lot of people is they get clean. And then what they do is they, instead of sort of what the medical term is to titrate up, get your body used to a certain dose, they go back to where they stopped, and it kills them. Right. And because your body can't take that, you've got it out of your system, you're clean, and all of a sudden you're going back to the level of drugs that you were ingesting prior to that, and your body can't handle that. So it's like a shock to your system, and that's what kills you. But of course, with this fentanyl, it's 50 times deadlier than just heroin, and they're cutting it with
it's not controlled. You don't know what you're getting.
Exactly.
That's why they're dying. These people are just mixing it in, and here it's cheaper to mix it in, and whatever happens, and you're dead.
Correct. Yeah.
Real quick. So when you got out of that Sunday with Pastor Ray, taking it back, when you walked out of there, your thoughts?
It's sad. I mean, my thoughts were, it breaks my heart. I'm a total empath. I want to save everybody. I want to help everybody. It's one of the reasons I walk so much, so I can clear my head. I really take on a lot of other people's pain. I do. And it breaks my heart that people are going through the struggles of what they're going through. So, sadness. I think I walked away with sadness, thinking, is this as good as we can do? It's just that, the gap is just so big, and then people running the country are just out of touch. And so this is really grassroots. So sadness, I think. Yeah.
All right. Changing subjects again.
Yeah.
Over this past month, let's get between you and I again, as we always do. You're an empty nester now.
I am an empty nester, officially an empty nester as of August the 18th. Yeah, I am. I was actually there yesterday with my daughter she's at Lehigh University, and I went up and spent, the day with her. So
how did that feel when you were letting her go that day?
Unfortunately, I didn't participate in her moving in, and that's, I didn't. And I didn't want to create a
I get it.
tension. You know what that's like. Let me just leave it at that. People can read between the lines, and I agreed then to sort of step out. So I didn't participate in that, but so this is the first time I've seen her since she moved in.
Okay.
I mean, that day was hard too, because I couldn't participate.
Yeah, I get it.
Or I wasn't invited to participate in that. So that was really difficult. But then going up yesterday, she's doing great. I mean, she, out of all of my kids, is probably the most social. She's signing up for things, doing this and doing that. And so she's really doing well and very happy there, and is acclimated academically and socially and all that. But it is weird because it's funny. I'm doing something tomorrow. I do some work with medical students and residents at Johns Hopkins here in Baltimore, and I'm working tomorrow doing that, and I'm there until like 5:30 or 6 o'clock or whatever. And by the time I get out there and get home, thinking, if this were my week with my daughter, I don't need to worry about that really anymore. So it's kind of a strange going through all these things. And for me, you have to realize too, Peter, with 6 kids, Zach would have been 36 on July the 21st. I've been doing this for 36 years.
Yeah, that's a lot. I can't even imagine, because I only have one, and it's a lot.
Yeah. So 6 kids for 36 years. It's exhausting. It's emotionally exhausting. It's financially exhausting. Yeah. It's a lot of work. And I was all in. I was all in. And I'm not even going to use the word regret. Some of them I was able to be there for more than others.
Right.
I'll share some of the responsibility for that, but not entirely all of it, because
Right.
it's
I get it.
a topic of alienation, unfortunately. But for the most part, for 36 years, that was my life. And I started young. Zach was born when I was 25 years old, and my second son was born when I was 26 years old. So I started young.
Sure.
And I coached a lot of sports, was very involved in school and all that, and then boom, it's over. So it's difficult when your identity was wrapped up in that so much, and now it's like, what do I do for me, or what do I do now?
Oh, it engulfs. I mean, it engulfs your life. You take a back seat to show.
Yeah.
I only had one, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know how people do it, but that's what you kind of sign up for, and you kind of either accept it or you become a shitty parent, one or the other.
Yeah, well, I think I've come to understand, having been married, having been divorced twice, and I understand why. I mean, you make the comment about shitty parents. I've had conversations with dads who, I just had one recently with whose kids don't speak to him for whatever the reasons are, and there's a lot of that going, a lot more than people realize out there. There are a lot of dads who are heartbroken, or go away, or just say, I can't deal with this anymore, move away. And so there's a lot going on out there, and that goes back to, I really honestly don't think that Zach ever really recovered from my divorce from his mom. I really don't. I think he didn't. And he carried that for a very long time. So if he carried that for 20 years, and he was only 33 when he died, he carried that for the majority of his life. And that's heartbreaking too. So it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. If you do it well and you do it right. And I think I did.
Or at least do the best you can. I mean, because you can always second guess. I mean, look, I'm dealing with, I see people, again, I've had recently now, some people that I'm pretty close with lost a parent, but they were older. I think they're very lucky, like I was, that I had a parent, both my parents, to a very old age, both them and I, and the thing is, it still hurts no matter how you look at it. And the thing is, you can, and I see somebody on Facebook, they're second guessing. I should have been a better this, or I could have been a better that. You know what? If you were with your family and with your parents, and you were still, on good terms, and you actually probably did pretty damn good, but you could always be better. But how much better can you actually be? I mean, you can run yourself into the ground second guessing this stuff.
Well, and you're only part of the equation. So what people have to do is give themselves a break. You have to realize that you're only part, just like a marriage, you're only part of the equation. There's only so much control you have. There's only so much you can do. Your kid's reaching age, and your daughter's probably, as I recall, she's a teenager now, right?
Yeah, she's getting ready to start. She's chomping at the bit to start driving, but she's she'll be 16 at the end of the year, so she wants her learner's permit, and
right.
What do you?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and they want to be with their friends. They want to, and it's understandable, but that's part of the breaking away and all that. I used to jokingly say that when people say to me, "Oh, I have 2, or I have 1, or 3," I would jokingly say, any less than 3 is a vacation. That's what I would call it. Because,
it's
and I never had really. I mean, we'd have the 6 of them together at times, but it was difficult because Zach would have been 36 and Isabel's 19, so that's a gap there. And everybody's doing different things, and he had been married and divorced and had kids and all of that. So life takes us in different directions. I have a son now living in Colorado. So yeah, and that's interesting too, because once that cord is sort of cut and they go, as they should, they're living their own lives, and and there we are. So my whole identity in large part was wrapped up in being a dad and being a husband, I think, really to a large part. And so,
here's what we're going to do real quick. I have not taken a phone call since I got back from Florida. Okay. I'm going to open up the phone lines and hope that it works. Okay. But 818-259-7983, if anybody wants to talk to Bob Paff, now's the time to call. I'll do it for about 5 minutes, and if it doesn't work, I mean, if nobody calls, I will not. I'll close them up because we're running out of time already. I mean, time just flies.
Yeah, no, it does.
I really need to find out if everything is back to normal, because it's hard to test something when you're not doing it. And the problem with live is this live feed is that you can't monitor after it goes out into the world, and except for in real time. Yeah, one thing for pre-record, it's another thing for real time. But 818-259-7983. If anybody's got a question for Bob Paff or wants a bitch about me for anything or whatever you want to say real quick.
Besides, bitch at me. I mean, that's fine.
That's okay. But I'm gonna and in case somebody does call and we're in mid conversation, I'm gonna break us real quick so I can take it, because I don't have a phone screener. I mean,
yeah. Well,
we are. It is. I'm a lone wolf. Ever since COVID, they've figured out a way. I mean, to wean me off, and now it's like, well, dude, you got this. You're good. You're good. Yeah. We monitor you from afar, and you're good. But anyway, 818-259-7983. If anybody wants to talk to Bob, but in the meantime, so let's talk about. Phone's ringing. Here you go. Did you ask for it? You got it. Hi, on the phone with Peter G and Bob Paff. Who's this? Well, who was that? And they're gone. Hang on, though. I have a feeling this is going to be the perfect storm, Bob. Speaking of which, this is so anyway, 818-259-7983. Whoever just called and hung up, maybe they're scared. But I hope they call back, because this is going to segue me right into where I want to go. I've been watching. We've been going around and around. We both have we share a few fans, so to speak. Here and there, and hang on one second. I got to see this real quick. Okay, no, I thought maybe something was okay. There's a lot of things going on. Like I said, you got it easy. I'm sitting here and I'm on Octopus reading things while they're going down.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and that's great. That's why I asked you earlier this evening. I said, please humor me. Just come on real quick. Let's test this, because there's just a lot going on. Here we go. So here we go. We're gonna do it one more time. Hi, you're on with Life of Peter G and Bob Paff. Who's this?
Gene.
Hi, Gene. Bob, can you hear Gene?
How are you?
I can. Hey, Gene.
How are you? Hi.
Oh, good thing you called, Gene. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Okay, what's on your mind today?
Your show is really good.
Thank you. Thank you. I see you chime in a lot, and I'm very grateful for that. And you're a fan. Let's go right here. You're a fan of both Bob and myself, correct?
Yeah.
But you live in the East Coast. You're really a lot closer to Bob than you are me, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You're pretty fond of Bob. It's easy to say, correct?
Uh-huh.
Well, good. I mean, because that's a good thing. Bob, you got a true fan here. Because I've been watching you guys over this past month, Bob. Yeah, I've been seeing there's I think there's, you guys are relatively close to each other.
Gene is a great fan, great supporter, always weighs in, is very caring.
I like the pictures that you post about the deer.
Oh, the deer, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
I know, that was really cool.
Yeah, thank you. No, that's a whole new thing. Every day I'm up there walking around and the deer come out. So
I know.
Is there anything on your mind? Anything you want to ask Bob now that you have him live? Because Bob hasn't been going live very often lately. He's been walking.
I know. The only time I get to hear him is when he's on your show.
Well, see, that's a good thing. See, okay. So, but the thing is, because he's walking for 80 hours a day.
I mean, he looks good.
Yeah, I know.
He looks like he's lost a lot of weight.
Somebody else just mentioned that too, Bob. They said you look thinner. Nobody said that about me. That's for sure. I'm still a fat ass. Hey, Gene, you got anything you want to tell Bob now that you got him right here in the flesh?
My oldest brother was up last weekend.
He was what?
My oldest brother from Charleston, South Carolina. Him and his wife were up last weekend.
Oh, great. Visiting you. Good.
They came up for a visit, but it was a short one. I wish they would have stayed longer.
Sure. Always happens.
Yeah, because they left last Sunday It was a little bit after 2. And then I came back over to my place. And last week I had a rough week. I just was lonely, and I just missed him because I'm not going to see him again, not unless we go down there or not unless he comes up here.
Sure.
You know, I was just emotional all of last week.
Sure.
Bob, any consoling words, Bob?
Gene, go. Charleston is one of my favorite cities, actually outside of New York City.
I know, it's beautiful down there.
Charleston is great. My daughter swears she's going to move there. She hasn't talked about it recently, but we've been going to Charleston for probably 20 years, and I love Charleston. So I encourage you to go, Gene. Go visit your brother. Go.
Yeah.
Yes.
We go whenever we get a chance, you know.
Yeah.
Bob,
Yeah.
maybe you can go down there with Gene. You're in the area.
Yeah, I'm in this area. Yep.
I mean, you know, you're right up the street.
Not that close, Peter.
Oh, no, I don't know.
I live in the city. Gene doesn't live in the city.
All right. Gene, anything else you want to do? Because I got to wrap it up. I just wanted to take a phone call or two.
Wow.
Time flies when you're having fun. Anything
Gene,
else?
it's late. Thank you for staying up so late, Gene. It's late here on the East Coast. So.
I like watching your show because I know it's going to be good.
It's going to be really, really good.
Great.
All right, Gene. Well,
thank you, Gene.
I enjoy listening to you guys talk.
Thank you. Just keep on sharing, okay? So that way we can get our message across.
Yeah, you guys are doing a great job.
All right, sweetheart. Anything else?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
All right. Well, listen, you think on that and we'll get back to you. Okay?
Okay.
All right, sweetheart. Well, we'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. There you go, Bob. I was just getting ready to go into this because you had made a statement. It's on my. God, I should have pulled it up. That because Gene follows both of us, and you said something about Gene thinks that I'm more handsome than you are. And this was a statement. It's on Facebook. Now, I beg to differ because I really think, because even on here, she just says, Bob, you are gorgeous. She said it right on here on this show. You are gorgeous. And now I'm going to quote. These are a few quotes. Again, don't mention it. Don't mention it. You're welcome. You were talking about going to someplace in Big Sur. Up in Northern California.
Yes, the Post Ranch Inn. The Post Ranch Inn on Big Sur. I was supposed to go there. That was my plan. I was recently separated. I don't think I was divorced at that point. But I was turning 50, and I've been wanting to go to the Post Ranch Inn for over 10 years. It's very zen. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Are you familiar with it?
I've been up to Big Sur, but I haven't been there.
Oh my God, Peter! But it's one of those places where like the celebrities go. So I think
that's why I haven't been there.
The cheapest room is probably like $1,000 a night, and I think you go from there. But it is right on the cliff right there. It's right on Big Sur, and I wound up in Maine instead. Not quite the Post Ranch Inn, but Greg Testa, if you're listening, a place I'm going to give a plug for Ogunquit, Maine. It's a former artist colony, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And it's right on the coast. It's right on the ocean. It's spectacular. So if you get a chance, folks, go up to Ogunquit in Maine. But yeah, the Post Ranch Inn.
But that was the thing. So you were saying you want to go up to Big Sur, and I saw Jean. She said she'd go up there with you if you want to go.
Well, there you go. A lot of people chimed in, Peter, who would be willing to go up there.
I must have missed those.
You'd go if I wanted to go, right? I mean,
well, I don't know. I'm kind of busy. But the thing is, she'd go up there with you to see Asher. Who's Asher?
Asher's my grandson.
Ah, okay. There you go. So she's, a couple of things. And I noticed, because again, I'm just trolling through the, Hey, don't mention it. Okay. So she, you got someplace you've been eating out because you eat out a lot. I see that you fine dine a lot.
I do. I'm a foodie. So when I'm out, I'm commenting on things, and people have told me that I should start a blog, doing something about that, being a food critic or something. But go ahead.
Right. That the love.
I should do that. Add that to the list.
Pepsi says it's a love connection. Okay, so Pepsi's my left hand man. Yeah, my Ed McMahon. So the thing is, so you eat. I saw you eating at the Mint Room. You were eating at the Mint Room.
I was at the Mint Room. Yeah. That's right.
Gene's interested in going to the Mint Room.
So listen,
You know?
Peter, I am happily single, so I appreciate your attempt to
I'm
play
just
matchmaker here.
I'm not playing
I am,
matchmaker.
I am very, very happily
I'm
single.
just seeing what I see. Here's the thing: is like I do not want to, I'm going to have to happily because I'm 3,000 miles away. So
Right.
I'm going to have to leave, be the gentleman that I am, and
Yeah.
and just lay the sword to you, and you guys are East Coast, and just live happily ever after. I mean, just.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I don't know how long I'm going to be on the East Coast, or at least in Baltimore. So we'll see where life takes us.
Okay, I just happen to catch these things through the month, and I quickly jotted them down.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Well,
Thank
hey,
you.
again, don't mention it. I just because you're out and about. You're like me. I'm a hermit. It's like I'm just bogged down. But you're all over the place. I'm going. Well, I just see.
Are you a hermit, really?
I'm busy. Yeah, I think I am. I mean, considering what I used to
Are you
be.
still playing music? I know you did that when you were here, but
Not very much. No, I don't have the time right now. This
Okay.
show sucks up a lot of time, and between that and my daughter, I've pretty much dedicated all that. I do not you're not going to see me bouncing around Hollywood like I used to during the days. I just don't. And maybe it'll come back again, but right now it's just not in the cards. I mean, I rather hunker down. This is a big deal. We're scratching the surface. This is not the position I want to be in. I'm thankful for what we're doing right now, but it's not what I want to be. It's many levels above this. So I don't just go running around. I mean, there's only so many hours in the day, and especially now that I've gotten so much of this responsibility of this show thrown on me due to COVID, I just don't walk in and show up and just run through the motions. It takes a lot.
Yeah.
I have many hats in this show, but thankfully so, I'll do it. So
well, you do a great job. You're way more technical than I am.
I don't want to be.
I think you use the word organic or whatever, and I am. I haven't done a show in a while. People keep asking me, and I'll do something this week. So if people are listening out there, Gene was making a comment. I will do something this week.
I don't like being the race. I want to be the race car driver, not the race car mechanic, not the truck driver with the race car. But I'm having to do a lot of things. And again, whatever it takes, because, I just believe in consistency, at least for me. And because I just feel like it's hard enough as it is. Everybody wants to be somebody. Everybody's got a podcast, and people call this a podcast. This is not a podcast. But, the thing is, nowadays anybody can pick up the phone basically and get on their soapbox, so to speak, and do whatever they want to do. And that it's hard. I guess that's my point. So I'm kind of buckled down. I'm totally content being low key right now, just shining when it's time to rise. I do, but then I go back and I hunker on down and do get down to the dirty work.
Yeah, no. I hear you. There's a lot of traffic in what we do, and it's funny you talk about the thing with the podcast. Everybody keeps telling me do a podcast too. I'm not a podcast guy. I mean, this is me. I mean, television is really what I want to do.
It's a lot easier, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's not everybody and anybody's doing that stuff.
That is true, and I like visual. I'm very.
I am too.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, if I had done a podcast and I was talking to some production companies here, I said, I use the word cinematic. I want to do a podcast that's cinematic because not only are you and I visual people, but I think people in general are visual people. Like, they want to see the face behind the name kind of a thing, or the voice, or both. And so I agree with you that.
But here's the thing. I mean, again, I'm lacking because we store all these shows and they should be going up to podcasts for those who are driving, that they can listen while they're driving. A lot of people, especially in LA, spend a lot of time in their cars. I mean, all over the country, really spend a lot of time in their cars.
Right.
And so I figured, that's one more way to get to people that normally, I don't know if I have time to sit and watch an hour plus show of me, even though I might like me. I mean, I'm kind of partial to me, but still life is short. So there's different ways to get to people, but again, not enough hours in the day. We're working on things to get back into taking the audio, throwing it to podcast. But this is my number one delivery. I like it.
I'm with you, guy, and you do a great job of it.
Well, and you join me because I think you do a great job of it, and that's why you're on here every last Sunday of the month. And we've been doing really well. We've been pretty consistent considering the time difference. You've been great for doing it, and I appreciate it. But I do it because, again, I truly believe that we both have something to offer. I'm not worried about I'm not. A lot of people are very paranoid about their careers and things like that. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, you either like me or you don't. And whatever you do, we are two totally different people, yet we have a lot in common.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, it's funny you say that. I have people that say, well, when you put it out there, anybody can see your stuff or whatever, employers, somebody wanting to hire you, whatever. I can't live that way. I've never lived that way. I try really hard. And if I've offended somebody, I'll apologize if I think what I did was offensive. But and this is one of the things I do think we share. I've got a lot of opinions about things based on my life experience. So I think to get to this point, I've been a father, been a husband, been an entrepreneur, I've done a lot of things and observed a lot of things. And I just really share those things, Peter. That's my shtick, if you will. I'm not a hardliner. If you feel one way, then great. But I'm going to share my thoughts and my opinions based on my experience. And that's really what I do. That's what I do.
I totally get it. And that's what, it's all about, really. You lead by what, makes you get up every morning. But
and somebody in California recently, Sandra, she's probably, I don't know, I think she's in California. I'd swear to it. So, and she was saying, I wish you were leading this country. Talking to me, I've been asked to run for mayor. I've been asked to run for governor. I say jokingly, not, but people said, oh, you should consider running for president, kind of thing. And I grew up wanting to do that. But it was nice because this person said, you're sincere, you're wise, you're this, you're that, you're transparent, all those things like that, which I think, whether it's me or somebody else, we just need more of. I just think there's so much narcissism in the world that it's getting. I follow two different people on YouTube who are both therapists, both psychologists, who talk a lot about narcissism, and I talk a lot about that. What's a narcissistic world, that we're living in. So it really bothers me. It really, really does. What's going on now, and I just don't know where we're going to go. Here's my prediction. It doesn't take a crystal ball to do this. Things are going to continue to get worse before they get better, Peter. They are. They are. I mean, I wake up. Nothing would surprise me anymore waking up in this country that this happened overnight or that happened. And somebody was rolling through, look at Haiti. Look at the earthquake in Haiti now. The thousands of people that were killed there. Look at Afghanistan. Look at now with this
always something
on New Orleans, right? I mean, it gets to the point that we become numb to it because it happens so frequently that we just don't even. It doesn't even bother us almost anymore. We become numb to all this stuff. Look what happened with this heat in the summer. I was in Florida as you were in June and July.
It's hotter now.
The Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been horrible. But the Pacific Northwest had triple-digit heat. There were people dying. Canada, right. So we've got all these things that are going on all over the world that we just kind of, forget about them. It's incredible what's going on. It's extremely stressful. And again, I think it's going to get worse. Restaurants are talking now about a lot of them shutting down again or not being, and in large part because they can't get personnel. So, in New York, they've got a mask mandate. You cannot go into a restaurant where a vaccine mandate. All that stuff is going on, right?
Again, not enough hours in the day. They just enforced all that around here too.
You've got Larry Elder running against Newsom, so you've got that whole recall thing that's going on in California, right? You've got all that stuff, and man, oh man, exhausting.
Look, we could be here for again hours upon hours.
You're keeping.
I know. Here's what I want to do. Unfortunately, but it's time to go. Final last word for our friends, family, and fans from you before I knock us out of here slowly but surely. I mean, what can you leave us with till I see you next month?
I kind of do this every month. We talk about it, folks. Just keep the faith. Whatever that means for you, but really take care of yourself first. So whether it is walking or reading or meditating, whatever it is that you do to maintain your level of sanity, please continue to do that. And I would encourage you to reach out to people. There are a lot of people that are hurting. I told you I'm going to a funeral service this week for a person who died suddenly, 3 kids, and an old family friend, and had just retired, had just sold the home and just moved to South Carolina, and within the last month, Peter. And
Wow.
so I would encourage folks to stay connected. If you're thinking about somebody, reach out to them, but really take care of yourself. I have not turned my television on in months. I want to know what's going on in New Orleans, and I'm more concerned about the storm than
Right.
the politics and all that other bullshit that's going on. But folks, take care of yourself out there. Do whatever you need to do that. But please do that.
Life is short.
Life is very short. All right.
Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the infamous Baltimore's own Mr. Bob Paff, and thank you again for staying up late. This has been a 5-weekend month. I'll see you again in 4 weeks. This
You
next
will.
month. Yes.
All right, guy.
And I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about. So thank you very much, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, Peter. Thank you. Good night.
All right,
Bye,
good night.
everybody.
There you have it, folks. Bob Paff. I'm telling you, there was so many directions we could go, and we could be on this stuff for quite some time. And that's the problem. We could be on it for quite some time. All right, folks. I thank Bob Paff for coming on, staying up late, because it's definitely a lot later on the East Coast than it is here on the West Coast. Always something to talk about. You can find Bob Paff. You can just go to bobpaff.com. Bob Paff's on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. He's all over the place. I strongly suggest you follow him if you're not following him. He's just got, everybody's grounded. I'm going to remind you real quick, if you got nothing to do this coming Wednesday, September 1st, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, the Kathy Nutt radio show. I'm going to be on her show for 1 hour. She doesn't go overtime. They have a schedule. So I'll be on that show with her. It's on the Artist First Network this coming Wednesday, September 1st. Artist First Network, Kathy Nutt radio show. Yours truly will be on it. See what she's got in store for me. I'm going to say this real clear, and I want you to pay attention. This coming Sunday, September 5th, starts my month of reality. For you vaxxers and anti-vaxxers, I want you to tune in. I don't care if you're pro-vaccination, anti-vaccination. I've got people that have stuff to bring to the table. And it's not just talk. The proof is that all the stuff that you guys won't take the time to read or learn, and you just go by whatever's fed to you on the television, good or bad. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you just to listen to the show, watch the show. This Sunday night coming up, Labor Day weekend, so you can stay up late, right? I'm going to have Dr. Brian Ardis. He's going to bring some facts about a bunch of stuff with COVID and the vaccinations. And again, you can take this information and you can just throw it in the trash, or you can live and learn by it. But the thing is, I'm bringing things to your attention because these are the things that normally most people, and I don't blame you, won't take the time to really find out. You just kind of go with the flow, going, well, okay, I'm sure it's okay, right? You decide. Next Sunday night, Sunday, September 5th. I urge you all to be here. And if you missed the show by some chance, I'm going to urge you to watch the shows afterwards. You can find them on YouTube. Find them on LinkedIn. You can find them on Facebook, but go to YouTube. It's easier to find because it's all by date and it's easier to find the stuff. The main shows. I want to thank Bolt Energy for having me. They sponsor me and know what I do and still sponsor me. But this is serious stuff. I want to see everybody here this coming Sunday night. It's going to be the first of many. I'm going to have a series of doctors back to back talking about this stuff. And this will give you an opportunity to pick and choose the information and what you want to do with it. But it's great information, and it's not a bunch of smoke blowing up your butt. Okay, because they have all the papers that can easily be found because they've mailed them all to me, emailed them to me. And but the thing that I don't even want to take the time to see this stuff. I don't have the time to read all this stuff. So I'm going to give you the rundown through their voice. I'm just the messenger, and I'm fortunate enough that they're willing to come on to this show to bring you some factual information. Again, what you want to do with it after that is totally up to you. But at least if you've listened to it, fair enough. And that's it. We got to go. Running over. I think again, my average is an hour 20. Just the way it is. There's just too much stuff to get through that's important and it has to be heard. And that's the way I feel about it. But I urge you, I want to see you, everybody. I want to see a record crowd next Sunday. Share it with your friends. Tell your people that you're going to be here because it's important stuff. Just give it a listen, a watch. That's all you got to do. He's going to be right here, face to face, eye to eye with you. And I do this for you. All right? That's basically it. I love you guys for paying attention. I know you have lots of choices in life. You don't have to be here, but you are. And I'm truly grateful. I'm grateful for every day. Every day that I wake up is a gift. Take a look around you. As Bob said, things, don't have to be this way. Which brings me to the final closing thought. As always, be kind. You don't have to take a bunch of shit from people, but you don't have to be an asshole either. I don't know any other way how to put it. Life is short. I'm so grateful for every day. We all have our ass aches, believe me. The old life is not a bowl of cherries. There I go back to the old life is not a bowl of cherries. But when you really take a look at it, you're probably doing better than a lot of people. So be thankful, okay? And don't forget, I want you to subscribe to the Peter G Show on YouTube. It's much easier. Simple. All right? That's it. Time is up. Again, thank you for paying attention. As always, I love you guys. Peace out, okay?
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, Divorce Dad.